Hey everyone, I'm RoblemVR, and today I'll be debunking arguments by VR haters. Episode 2, VR sickness and more.
Let's go!
So if you saw the previous video, you remember this list of reasons we hear over and over from VR haters. Last time we debunked these 4 reasons, so we can remove them. Well, people let me know about 2 more, Google Glass and virtual world failures, so now our list looks like this. This time I'm going to talk about uncomfortable, eye strain, wires, and the biggie, VR-induced nausea. In the 80s and the 90s, VR headgear was simply uncomfortable. The VPL Research iPhone weighed in at 2.4 kilograms, or over 5¼ pounds. In general, the head-mounted displays of the period were large and heavy, and sometimes more like helmets. Having that much weight, plus the weight of a heavy cable on your head and face, made for an uncomfortable experience, especially after several minutes. The screens used were either small CRTs or early generation LCDs with poor refresh rates. Optics used were generally hard to adjust, if you could adjust them at all, and most headsets didn't allow glasses to be worn inside them. This of course led to eye strain and even headaches. Today's headsets are much lighter than previous models, and generally all come in at around 500 grams or about a pound. Design and material advances have made them less cumbersome and more comfortable overall. Most new headsets have adjustments for their optics and can accommodate most glasses. Cables on desktop VR are much thinner and lighter than in the past. When seated, the cables aren't a problem. When standing, it's recommended to use the clips on the headset and clip the cords to your belt to make them more manageable. Of course, the HTC Vive with the room scale VR and its 5-meter or 16-foot long cable amplifies the situation. But novel solutions like suspending the cable from the ceiling or a microphone stand seem to work. Of course, dealing with a large cable while essentially blindfolded is never going to be perfect, but backpack PCs are available now, and future high bandwidth wireless is on the way. Now that we've covered the other arguments, we come to virtual reality-induced nausea. VR sickness was the final nail in the coffin for VR in the 90s, as it made a lot of people feel sick, even after just a few minutes. So why was this happening? Motion sickness occurs when what your different senses detect is happening to the motion of your body don't match up. This can happen to people on boats, carnival rides, planes, at the movies, and in virtual reality. Why motion sickness makes you want to revisit your lunch is not well understood, but is thought to have a connection to the effects of food poisoning on the senses. The first factor for VR sickness is frame rate. A motion picture generally needs 24 frames of film per second for your brain to see motion as opposed to a fast slideshow. This is fine when you're staring at a stationary frame, but once you introduce the motion of a VR headset, the needs are greater. The time it takes for you to move your head and your display to update is known as motion to photon latency, and a speed of less than 20 milliseconds has been shown to eliminate headset-induced nausea in most people. Translated back into frames per second, this works out to about 50. So systems attempt to keep frame rates far above this, generally looking to achieve 75 to 90 frames per second. The second factor for VR sickness is perceived movement and acceleration. If a game or experience shows you accelerating and your body doesn't feel it, this can also make you sick. Placing a person in a vehicle, like the cockpit of a plane or spaceship, seems to help, as does eliminating acceleration from the experience entirely. Some systems go so far as to eliminate all perceived movement by allowing the user to teleport from one point of view to another. For people that still have issues, treatments for more traditional motion sickness, like peppermint, ginger, acupressure, and over-the-counter medications seem to help. And much like seasickness, most people build up a tolerance over time. With all these advances in the technology and understanding of what causes it, virtual reality-induced nausea isn't the problem it used to be. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe to my channel because I'll be debunking more arguments by the VR haters very soon. Have a good one.